All right. I am school just started this year. Yay, Danny. All right. I am Allison Gregory. I am the former former principal at Grace County High School as of January 3rd. I have joined the P3 program at the Kentucky Department of Education. So I'm super sad about leaving Sarah Wright Holmes in the high school, but excited about the work with P3. So I will tell you this, if I've got any principals or district level leaders in here and you like this layout of a mentor program, then I'm here to help you and I'll help you design that. That's part of our work with P3 is to support principals. So definitely shoot any questions in the chat as we go throughout. And then you are.
I'm Sarah Wright Holmes, and I'm one of the assistant principals here at Grace County High School. And super sad to see Allison go, but I know that she has a lot to offer the state. And so looking forward to interacting with you guys today and sharing our mentor-mentee program.
All right, I'm going to try to go quicker through this first slide for sure. I do think as a leader in education, you cannot just start something and not think big picture. And so I will say that's kind of how we did start and then figured out, hey, we got to figure out what's going on. So really think about what your purpose is going to be as a school. And my purpose might not be your purpose, but our new teacher program, which we call Mentor Mentee, and here's why. Because every teacher new to Grace County High School goes into our Mentor Mentee program. And so that is because we have 85 staff members. It's a big school. It's easy to get lost in the shuffle. And so our induction program is really about clearly communicating what we believe current accomplished teaching looks and sounds like. And everybody new to Grace County High School really needs to be inducted into that. So it's not just all new teachers. It is anybody new to Grace County High School. And then we had to think about our vision. What was this program going to look like then? So we have weekly meetings that are informal, monthly meetings that are more formal that Sarah Wright Holmes and I, including our newest coaches, really work on planning that out. But my big thing is one of the biggest action steps is we run meetings like I want to see classrooms run. So it is never a sit and get. We model what classroom learning, what we want classroom learning to look like at Grace County High School. And so with that, what is our mission? What is teaching going to look like if we do both those things really well? Our mission is for, and I connected this to Dr. Drummond earlier, we want teachers to feel like they belong, to create relationships so they don't leave us. We're not the highest paid school around here, so we want them to stay for other reasons. And so just like we want students to be critical thinkers, I need to bring up teachers in the school who are constantly looking at their craft, revising and questioning and reading to get better. So I'm going to go into immediately and just let you all hear from, actually this session, I'm going to choose Caitlin Delaney. She was actually a mentee our first year and then immediately went into mentor. And we'll talk about how we choose mentors in just a second. But I'm going to let you hear from Caitlin.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Delaney, and I was part of the GCHS mentor program for 2 years. The first year I was involved, I was a mentee in the program, and so I got a lot of help just with different things that newer teachers can struggle with, or that sometimes we all can struggle with. I remember some specific sessions that we talked about. One was about classroom management, of course, and just hearing some tips from other teachers about how to deal with that and strategies to use in the classroom. We also one day talked about parent contact, and I remember we actually role played with our group about, if you had an angry parent or if you had someone who emailed you, like how you should respond, or if you're on the phone with them, ways to respond positively. And just, it was really neat to kind of get that experience with other teachers in a friendly environment and figure out what works and what doesn't. But then also, my next year in the mentor program, I was actually the lead Algebra 1 teacher. So I had a mentee. So I was the mentor that year. And I actually think I learned more that year than I did the first time, even as the mentor, because not only did I get to help my mentee and answer some questions, but also a lot of times we would split into like mentees and mentors. And I learned a lot from the other mentor teachers because a lot of them are veteran teachers. And so they would give examples on what they did specifically for classroom management in their classroom. Or I remember one teacher shared about her homework policy and what she did when students didn't do their homework. And it's actually something that I've adopted in my classroom now. So these meetings were really helpful because they gave specific examples for what we were doing right then in the classroom. And that's what I appreciated most about the Mentee Mentor program.
As a new teacher here at Graves,
I'll send this link out. So if you want to hear from another mentee as well, but that brings us to thinking about, okay, she was just a, third year teacher, second year here. How was she a mentor?
And we do not choose our mentors based on years of experience. And I feel like that's kind of a go-to sometimes is, oh, they've been teaching a long time. And so they can help the new teacher. And so we saw after the first year that Caitlin had so much to offer a new teacher. She was very reflective. She had a growth mindset. She wanted to constantly improve, and she was just yearning to have that, to constantly get better for her students. And so with that being said, she was also extremely strong in the classroom, and she had a lot to offer a new teacher. And so if you're sitting there thinking, oh, but then they didn't make her a mentor this upcoming year, that was because she was moved to a different content. And so, or a different subject. And so we didn't want to put too much on our plate. So we have to be really aware of what we're putting on our mentors as well as our mentees. And so we didn't want to add to her plate, and we wanted to give her an opportunity to really dive into her new content that she was teaching. With that being said, as we choose our mentors, we don't do it on content specific. So we don't say, okay, we're going to choose this teacher because we need an English teacher, or we're going to choose this teacher because we need a math teacher. We are very focused on choosing those positive teachers that are willing to grow. They are also, they're vulnerable right alongside their mentee. And so they want those high expectations for themselves, for their students, and they surround themselves with colleagues that also set high expectations. So that's, as you can look on the screen and see other things that we really go by as we select those mentors, but it is a very thought out process that does not focus on years of experience.
For sure. Okay, and just a quick history of where we were, where we are now. I've only been at the high school 3 years. I was an elementary principal before that. So when I got to the high school, there's a district level induction program for every new teacher in our district. It really only goes through October. And it was an umbrella. It was the big picture of Graves County School District and what our focus was. And we realized very quickly that, like, hey, they're not getting the unique things that we're doing in this school. What is the focus of our school? And so I said, hey, Sarah Wright Holmes, we're going to continue this new teacher training, but we're going to call it Mentor Mentee. And it was pretty spotty the rest of 1920 because I don't know if y'all are aware, but there was a pandemic. All right, so then for the last 2 years, our new teachers to the district do district induction, but we work really closely with district office. So we're not redoing and we're not wearing them out. And then we do school level. But how did we redesign to where it was very focused? I looked at our core values and said, everything we do in here, we've got to be connected to what our core values are as a high school. So I would say everything, not just our mentor mentee, everything we do in this building connects back to our core values, or we say no, we don't do it. And so our non-negotiables as we plan, and so I want to challenge you to think that way too. What are my non-negotiables with my new teacher program or mentor mentee program? And it was, I wanted Ms. Sarah Wright Holmes and I to model effective planning and teaching. We were not just going to have a meeting to meet and give them stuff to do. We were going to model the entire time what good teaching and learning looks like. And then we wanted to create relevant content for both parties, mentors and mentees, because they're both in the meeting. So that brings us to the designing portion. I don't think you can skip this. You're not just going to be reactive and go with the latest and greatest. We really sit down in the summer and think about, okay, looking at who we've hired, what do they need? So in 2021, what we knew going in is we knew we'd probably go in and out of in-person instruction and distance learning. And so we were already a one-to-one high school. Don't think that we were fabulous at using that or even at the proficient place with teaching with Chromebooks. And so in order to model, everything we do is off Schoology, which is our LMS. So we set everything up through Schoology. And then we use the Chromebook Infused Classroom as our text for that year. So we bought it for every mentor mentee, and that was our base of what we did everything outside of. But we also knew that classroom management was going to be an issue. We had already seen that coming back and forth from NTI. So we didn't give every teacher this book, but a lot of our classroom management techniques came out of Win-Win Discipline. And then as you all realized too, communication with families became imperative when kids weren't with us every day. And so we wanted to focus on that. So we have 3 focus areas every year, and that's it. If we have less than 3, that's okay too. But then we moved to 21, 22, and we wanted to keep some the same. So the Schoology piece stays the same because that's an expectation, but then we added.
Yeah, so we saw actually in 1920 that assessment was a area that we needed to grow in. I feel like our mentors and our mentees both needed some guidance in that. And so as we moved into the 21-22 year, we saw that classroom management wasn't the area of weakness that we had seen in the previous year. So I had been a part of the assessment playbook book study and thought that really, that would have been something great for me as a new teacher. And even as a veteran teacher, I saw things that I felt like was very useful. So that's something that we did buy for every teacher, mentor and mentee. And so we have gone through that book together just to kind of give them some foundation for assessment. And assessment doesn't look like it once did when they were in school. And if, the kids can Google the answer, that is probably not the best assessment for them.
For sure.
Also, all of our teachers district-wide, new teachers, they go through Kagan day 1 and day 2. So our teachers have that experience. And then we are always practicing communication with families because that's something as a new teacher, regardless of the year, we see that that's something that they're just not that comfortable with. And so, as Caitlin mentioned in her video, we role played that in 1920, and we still are doing it in 21-22. You'll see on a future slide, like one of our clips, that myself and one of the assistant principals were showing them modeling how to have those tough conversations with parents, but also how to have positive ones too. So,
and I think with the whole design initiative too, that I didn't tell in the last session, but I think it's important for you too, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to empower leaders around me and teacher leaders as well. So I went into it thinking, okay, I'm going to model this for Sarah Wright Holmes. She's going to take it on in 21-22. And then we also added instructional coaches who teach all day long too. So there are new teacher coaches. And I think our thought is for next year that Sarah's modeling for them, so it will eventually be teachers leading teachers through this process. That I think is really important to the design aspect. Okay, so then when we actually get to our monthly meetings, we have them once a month. They're already on the calendar. They get on their calendar in July or whenever they come in. And our process, I think I already told you guys this, they stay with us 3 years. So we've got cohorts, but we all meet together. So that's really cool too, because you'll start to see our year 2s leading our year 1s, but they can still learn from our year 1s. It's just been a neat process. But each meeting we are modeling from beginning to end. So when Miss Sarah Wright Holmes and I sit down to plan out, here's what we're going to do in our meeting. It's just like a lesson. And so we, in that first year, 2021, came across Catlin Tucker's 5E lesson plan. If you have not looked that up, I'll share this with you. That link will take you right there to her lesson planning, which was really designed for distance learning. And so we use that lesson plan and plan out from beginning to end what we're going to do. And we share that with the teacher so they see how we're planning and it's continuing to model. We put that on Schoology.
Yes. And one thing that I thought was really great this year is we introduced this last year, and we had a teacher year 2 in our program. And she was able to come to one of our new teacher trainings, and she shared with the entire group how effective this lesson plan has been. And that's how she always plans her lesson. And so while we don't require any specific lesson here at the high school, we do encourage that this is something that will help you be more effective in reaching all of those components. We then put that on Schoology so that we can model for the teachers exactly what those expectations look like when they're putting their assignments out to their students, and that those links are live and so they can access them. And then from there, we look at our presentation of whatever Kagan structure we're using, or whatever type of engagement we're using. We model that, show that, lay that out for them so that they have the experience and the background to use that effectively in their class.
Yeah, so every meeting we're sitting in pods, we sit in teams just like we ask them to sit in their classrooms. It is collaborative, and you can see right here, this explore piece connects back to our explore piece of the lesson. So we're always trying to make that connection with them. And then when they leave us, we believe that homework needs to be meaningful, that there needs to be a purpose if they're giving homework in their high school classroom. And so with that said, we also give homework for the professionals in our building. I am super, well, we both are. We believe that professional reading is important. So talk about the homework that we give them.
So we know that new teachers are under a lot of stress. And so we're not trying to add to their stress, but we do want them to stay focused in their profession. And so and continue to grow. So we assign their homework assignment a month in advance so they can work on that in their own time. But that's going to be laid out around whatever our book study is, something that is relevant that's happening for this time of the year in their classroom. And so that's how we normally start our meetings, is to reflect on whatever their homework assignment was for the previous month.
And we also show them that reading isn't just reading a book. Like it could be listening to a podcast. It could be getting on a Twitter chat. We really try to show them different opportunities because everybody's not a book reader.
Right.
Not necessarily. Okay, and then this is what it's all about. We want them to build community and feel a part. Like Dr. Drummond said this morning in his keynote, kids have to feel like they are loved and belong. And you put a new teacher in with 85 other teachers, and a lot of them know each other. They can get lost in the shuffle. It's what we call a gap teacher. We do not want that gap at Grace County High School. And so at the end of the day, we want to build a really strong community. And by year 3, that's exactly what they've done. They have really bonded with their mentor or with other mentees. And so these are just a couple of pictures of our meetings and how they go, and actually a role play that they're watching and taking notes on. So if you kind of look at their tables, you can see that we really stick to modeling what we want to see. And then let's keep it real. And the way that I constantly do this, leaders, is I always say, what would I have wanted as a new teacher? But more than that, now that I'm 21 years in, what did I need that maybe I didn't always get? And so when you look at this layout of how we lay this out, is it time consuming for Miss Sarah Holmes and I when we're planning? Absolutely. But it is so worth it, because so is hiring every single year. Can I get an amen on that? That is time consuming. And so what we found in our 2021 year, every one of those teachers came back, was rehired, and chose to come back. And that's the first year in my career probably that has ever happened to me. And so that was super exciting. And I attest a lot of it to this program that our mentors help so much with. And then it helps us be proactive instead of reactive to what comes our way. And so we want teachers to be set up for success. And so choosing the right mentor, taking the time to do that. And more than anything, our mentors learn just as much as well. I'm going to show you a mentor reflection. I'm going to ask you to think and put in the chat things that you hear from this mentor. She's 18 or 19 years in, and has just really made quite a transformation in 3 years as a mentor, going from desk and rows, not really reading anything, to her, she is a Kaganite teacher is what I call her now, and can't stop her from reading. So I just want you to listen to her and things that you want your teachers to say as well, or maybe your teachers are already saying that. So we'll listen to.
My name is Tara Fowler, and I am a mentor participating in the Mentor-Mentee program. And I can honestly say that as a mentor, I have become a better teacher through the program. One of the reasons for this is because it's challenged me to read more and listen to more podcasts that deal with education, and it has made me realize how much I don't know with the latest educational trends and issues, and so it's challenged me to get more up to date with that. Secondly, the mentor mentee program has a built-in kind of accountability piece in it, in the fact that I know at any given time my mentee can come in and observe, and I want to always make sure that I'm practicing what I'm preaching. And so I always work harder to plan lessons to make sure that I'm including things that our school wants us to include, so that if my mentee comes in, I'm setting a good example for my mentee. And also, as a veteran teacher, I sometimes forget how hard it is to be brand new and how much just new teachers tend to struggle. And so it helps me to stay with reality in their world, and it helps me to have more compassion for them so that I truly can support them in the best way possible. And finally, probably most importantly, what it does, this program, is it builds relationships between me and my mentees that are non-threatening, and it allows for them to come in, and even sets up time for them to come in and ask questions and get support without any judgment, because that's my role as their mentor. That's who they come to, and they know, and so they know that it's judgment free, and that my whole job is just to support them, and they can come in and ask me anything they want. They can get help with anything that they want without feeling like somebody's going to be upset with them or making them feel dumb. It just gives them a safe place to go and ask questions without any judgment at all. And what that does is it makes them better as teachers, but ultimately it makes my team better. And if my team is better, just my little small team, and every little team within the school is doing that, it's making the entire school better. So I think that the mentor-mentee program is super beneficial if it's done correctly, and if there's a purpose, and if we know the purpose behind it.
Oh, whoops. I hope I don't play
My
that
name
again.
is Tara Fowler.
So I think my big piece with that, well, let me put in the chat for me something you heard that resonated with you, that you would want to take back and integrate into your district or school level. What's something, or maybe it's something you're already doing. Maybe nobody's on here. Oh, we got retaining. Team is better, school is better. I know. I loved when she said that. And that's really it's been a shift in our thinking at the high school. And I'll tell you too, when you're planning out these meetings, there are sometimes that I take the mentors with me, like we split. And so some months mentors and mentees both are there. Sometimes it's just mentees. And then sometimes I split and I talk to the mentors, and I really coach them up. I use cognitive coaching, but I coach them up as far as, have you been in your mentee's classroom? What are you seeing, so that we can get a big picture of any adjustments that might need to be taking place the next mentor-mentee meeting. But I can't remember. That's the last slide, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So that's how we do it. Definitely has been a game changer at this high school. And I think you can do it with small schools as well, even at a district level. But I think you would have to involve your principals a little bit with that. But thank you so much. If you've got any questions, thoughts, logistics wise, if there's something I left out, we always feed them. We always feed them some sort of food because it's after school, and I think that's so hard after school. Yeah. But if I can be of any help, just reach out.
Thank you for a great session. And also I thought the video clip was very good. Please
Thank you.
if the teacher, please let her know I thought she did just such a great job.
Yeah, she is absolutely a transformation has taken place with her. And so I'm super proud of her.
Wow.
She had to be very
Yeah.
vulnerable.
And I think that was a question in our last session too. She actually mentors multiple teachers. So we don't just do one-to-one. Like, it's very intentional who we put as mentors.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And again, all of your materials are linked in to the resource section for the conference.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay. Thank you so much. And have a great rest of the day. And the next session here is Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover, coming up next in 10 minutes.